In the comment section of a recent video, I mentioned that I was thinking about doing a video in comparing the FTD data with Li Auto, XPEV or Xpeng and NIO. And one of the reasons I thought about that is a lot of people seem to think that they're true competitors of each other. I personally don't think they are, but I thought, you know what? Let's just pull this data and let people see it. And also, because someone previously had asked recently about Tesla, I've got them in here as well. So we're starting with Li Auto. The first thing I want to do, and with each of these, what I'm going to do is put the price action in after the fact. So this is the history of Li Auto, which out of the three Chinese companies and these tickers that are traded in the US market has the highest stock price right now. And you see the fails to deliver on screen, which are not very significant. There are not a ton of them. This really was the only spike. Now I'm going to insert the price so you can see the price action relative to, or if there's any obvious correlation with the FTD data. You know, I really can't see anything that jumps off screen, but that's just me. Again, this one time, even if this was part of the reason that it came down, that took several months. Maybe this impacted this move. I don't know. I hate to say it. I really haven't tracked it to the extent that I can say with any certainty or confidence. But now let's move over to XPEV or Xpeng. So in this one, we do have a point in time here where there was a pretty significant uptick on the FTDs, the failed to deliver data, spiking, with this being the single biggest day with over 4 million FTDs that showed up. So noticeably more on this one. Now this ticker, XPEV, trading about the $19 range right now. Now let's go ahead and insert the price. And what do you know? It looks like there is some correlation here. And fun fact for those who don't know, the suspicious short, as I've called them, that has had a short position in NIO since back around the $40 range, where I kind of did a video back several years ago saying, hey, heads up, we got to watch this. Because once I saw they had a short position, I was like, all right, they may mess with the stock price. And since then, we've seen the stock price move down consistently over the last 3.5 years. Now, they also have a short position in XPEV and in Li Auto, but it's much smaller position. So maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. Just tossing out a little extra data there for those who are curious. But when the FTDs dropped off, or rather before they really came into play here with XPEV, it looks like you're anywhere from the $35-ish range to the $55 range for XPEV. And that would have been back in late 2021, just to give you, a few other kind of tidbits, data points to look at. Now let's look at NIO. And NIO, for me, I think even without inserting the price, it looks like we've got three different time frames. You've got an early and heavy deluge of the FTDs. And so for comparison, this was over 7 million on a single day, over 8 million on a single day, over, I think I saw 10 million in there too. And then you had them drop off, and then you had them uptick again, and they have remained steady as we've seen the price come down. But here's the price action. So you can see, again, this seems like there's a pretty obvious correlation when we insert the price, and this was the 6-month time frame where NIO stock shot from the $3.50 range to over $55, and then it would continue to go as the FTDs remain low. But at that same time, we had hundreds of millions of shares being traded over the course of a lot of days. And so that's why the trade volume has remained something I've kept in mind. We've had much lower trade volume for NIO in these recent, I would say the last year at least. But now let's look at Tesla. So this is an older stock and company. The listing for the stock, as the FTD data shows here, goes back to 2010. And what you'll notice is a lot of FTDs all the way up until basically, I think it was about the end of 2020. So imagine, I know some NIO stock investors are frustrated that it's been a 3-year downtrend. Imagine having to wait 5 or 10 years. And that's the mentality that I had with NIO. But then we saw it go so fast, so early, at least for me, seeing it when I was still doing my early research. So that's what kind of opened my eyes to say, wow, there's a lot more I need to research and study here. This is the price action for Tesla. And again, you look at that price action for all those years, and it finally went. and it didn't go until after profitability. And so the argument, I think the simple argument for the short thesis is profitability crushes the short thesis. And that's why it's important for companies, especially if the company is an IDE, an innovative driven enterprise, particularly a company like a NIO or a Tesla, because those companies have a larger global footprint potential, but that means they have to build out the infrastructure. And then in the case of NIO, I think the business model itself is much stronger. I think we will see that play out. NIO I believe they are going to get to profitability, and they are not going to need the government from the US and the government from China to help them do that. I don't think they're going to need government credits or subsidies to help them get there. I think the strength of the business model will get it there. And I don't mind if it takes longer, but that's my take. Also, I'm going to leave you with a final thought. I put a poll up on Twixter because I wanted to have a little fun with it. So come on through and I'll post it in the description. So if you haven't seen it, you can go over and vote. I just had a little fun with it, sort of wondering if the Twixter algorithm was going to allow NIO to actually trend at some point, because I haven't seen it trend for a very long time. And I was just curious what others might think, and I had a little fun with it too. So anyway, I'll link that in the video description as well. But thanks for sticking around to the end. Let me know your thoughts, drop it in the comments, and I'll be back with more content before you know it. Thanks. Have a great day. I'll see you all again very soon.